Hello everyone, and welcome to part 2 of my Birkin unboxing. This is where I talk all about pre-spend and price of the bag, if it's worth it, previous offers that I've turned down, and give you guys all the details that I can. After I've carried this bag for a while, I will also do a review of my thoughts actually using the Birkin 30. If you did not see my previous unboxing, you can click that in the description down below if you want to go ahead and watch that first. And with that, let's jump right on in to the video. So the current price for a Birkin 30 in Togo in the US, keep in mind this is US pricing, is $13,900 plus tax. My goodness. That is a very, very expensive bag. So $13,900 plus tax is what I paid for this beautiful bag right here. Now, is that a ridiculous price to pay for a bag? Yes, it is a ridiculous price to pay for a bag. I also recognize the fact that right before I took off these stickers, I could have easily sold this bag for twice what I paid for it. Particularly because of the color and the size and the combination being very, very sought after. But this bag is never going anywhere. And like the feel of the leather and the feel of the craftsmanship on this bag is unlike any other bag in my collection. Like it is truly another world and another level. Is it actually worth $13,900? No. I'm not crazy enough to pretend that it is. But for me, this is the pinnacle. And I don't plan to have a whole collection of these bags. This is my one and only Hermes bag. This is probably going to be my one and only Hermes bag. Like I said, for like 30 years, because this is a bag that I'm going to take care of, but I'm going to use this bag. And it's gonna take a long time for that cost per wear to come down. But I'm okay with that, because to me, having this bag is an accomplishment. And I have plenty of other accomplishments that I'm so proud of, professionally, hobby-wise. There are plenty of other things that are way more important than getting a handbag, and this really had nothing to do with me so much as it did having to do with people who were kind enough to me to help me get this and to help me achieve this. So cost is always the first thing. So that is how much a Birkin 30 in Togo cost. But the other thing that people always ask about is pre-spend. So everything that I have gotten from the Nashville store, you have seen me unbox. I'll link my initial Nashville unboxing below. And like I said, I was offered a bag on that day before I'd even purchased anything. I had actually turned down 4 other Quota bags. So there was at the opening a Rouge Cassac, which is a very, very bright red Birkin 30, and I told her no on that the red was just going to be too bright. She showed me a picture of the color before she brought it to me, and I said no, like that's too bright. She said okay. She's like, well, she's like, going a bit extreme then since it's the opening, how would you feel about the Bordeaux crocodile? So I had the option to buy a fully crocodile bag. That was more expensive than Blake and I's cars put together. So I said no to that because I don't want a bag that costs, I think it was like $75,000. No, so that one got turned down. I was later asked, how would you feel about a black? And she said, you know, I know you wear a lot of black. And I said no to the black because, and I'm not even sure what size the black would have been. And I said no because I have my black lizard bag from YSL. That's my special black bag. She then later asked me, she's like, okay, she's like, I know your dream color is Rouge 8. She said, I know that you've previously talked about a 30. She said, how would you feel about a 25? And I said no. I said, particularly with now that we're having a little girl, I don't want a 25 because I won't be able to put that on my arm. And I need to have the flexibility where I can sling it onto the crook of my arm and I don't just have to carry it with my hand, because I'm going to need both my hands handling my daughter. And she said, okay. And so those were the 4 bags that I turned down, because I knew that this was the one that I wanted and I was willing to wait for it, and I didn't want to risk taking a bag that I didn't want and then this one coming in and me not being able to get it. So everything that we spent that day, plus the 2 tiny little things, I guess 3 technically because of the Twilly that you saw me unbox just now, that's what we got. Now, that is not a 1-to-1 ratio. That's not a 2-to-1 ratio. That's not any of those ratios. If you look at our overall Hermes spend, that is 1-to-1. It's more than 1-to-1 actually. Across the Orlando store, the Hawaii store, Nashville, and then especially if you add in the things that we got in Paris. And so I think more so than necessarily the specific spend, because I don't think that it was necessarily, like I said, targeted on a dollar amount. I think it was targeted more specifically the offers on opening day. The people who were invited to that were people who live in the area, who were already established Hermes customers. And I had definitely not spent, I spent more in that one day at Hermes, I think, than my total spend had been at Hermes up to that point. Or maybe around the same as my total spend to Hermes up to that point. So I was definitely not a VVIP or anything like that, but I had bought across different areas of the brand. I think that that is much bigger. And I had also never bought anything just to buy it. I bought things that I genuinely loved. So I was not buying Birkin bait. I was buying pieces that I loved and that I wanted, and just hopeful that at some point it would be enough that I would be offered a bag. So before the Nashville store, categories that I'd bought from is I'd bought a couple of pieces in homewares. So my cashmere blanket, I had bought 2 of the small trays. That's all I think I bought in homewares. In scarves and in silks, I had my silk 90 by 90, 2 Twillies, and then my silk cashmere blend shawl, my initial one that I'd gotten in Hawaii. Oh, and I'd also bought a scarf ring. I'd also bought a scarf ring from the equestrian area. I had gotten a jacket, so I had a zip-up jacket. And then from shoes, I had a pair of Legend wedges. And then I also had bought from belts, I had a Kelly belt, and I had an Hermes belt kit. And then I bought a few bits of beauty, so I bought a couple of nail polishes and a lipstick and a lip oil. That's what all I'd bought in store. I also had a Calvi Duo, but I'd bought that pre-loved. I had a pair of Hermes loafers that I had bought. They were brand new, but I had bought them off of someone who no longer wanted them because they just didn't really fit them. So they were brand new, but didn't get them from the store. My Bastia I had purchased through France. And then my purchases that I made in Paris back in August, which were another Kelly belt and my shawl. Adding to that, in Nashville, I had bought SLGs with my guitar bag charm. And then I had also bought women's shoes. We'd bought men's accessories with Blake's scarf. We had bought women's accessories with my hat. We also did get a piece of jewelry that I have not unboxed for you guys yet, because that is actually a Christmas gift for me from Blake, and so that will be unboxed. Actually, it may have been unboxed already by now, because I don't know exactly when this video is going up. If this video goes up before Christmas, it won't have been unboxed. If it goes up after Christmas, it will have been unboxed. But we had bought a piece of jewelry, then we added that. And then we'd also bought in the baby homewares, where we had gotten a washcloth for our daughter. And so that's all the stuff that we had bought before getting offered this specific bag. This is something where I think that it was far more important that I had, first off, a good relationship with my SA. I followed her from YSL to Hermes, and because she had been the assistant manager at YSL, so I'd gotten to know her through our VIP status at YSL. Followed her to Hermes. She and I have a very good relationship. And so I think that that was very important, because she knew how much that I wanted this bag. Because even when she was still in YSL, we talked about how, like, ultimately my dream was this. And so she knew that, and she was aware of that before she even went to work at Hermes. And she and I happened to both love this color and both love box leather, and so we had talked about that a lot. But then also the fact that we were starting to establish a good relationship with the manager of the store, just from a couple of good interactions where, first off, my husband is like the most personal person on the planet and can get along with everybody. But we had met him at the party, so we'd been at the event, we'd been at that next day appointment, met him again. He's extremely nice. I feel like that we were very nice as well. I mean, everyone's having a good time. How can you not be nice when everyone is so happy and it's such a wonderful day? I had written a thank you note to the manager and to all of the staff in Hermes after the event, thanking them for inviting us, thanking them for how wonderful it was. And so just honestly not being a demanding person, I had even told my SA, I was like, you know, don't feel the need to like use up your capital on me to get this bag. Like, I want this bag, but I'm not dying to get this bag. I'm not going to hound you for this bag. You know that I want it. I know that you know that, and I'm just gonna leave it, and if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm still going to shop with you. And so I think the fact that I treated her with respect, that my husband and I tried to treat everyone in the store with respect and just general politeness is a big factor in why they were willing to offer this bag to me. I also think the fact that I very clearly wasn't going to take something just to take something, that I was specific in what I wanted, not demanding, but I knew what I wanted because I genuinely want to wear this bag the rest of my life. And I think the fact that it was very clear in my love of the brand and in my appreciation for the craftsmanship within the brand that I was not going to resell this. And I think the fact that I turned down offers that weren't right for me because I said, you know, I would end up reselling this and I don't want to resell my bag. I want to keep my bag. And so I would rather it go to someone else because I know someone else will love this bag, and that's not me. I think the fact that I turned down offers also helped probably in getting this, and I don't know that for sure. I'll never know exactly why they decided to offer me this bag. I'll never know why I'm so fortunate to own one of these bags. And I say that is sort of a tongue-in-cheek thing because like I did have to buy it. It's not like that they just gave it to me. But my very first Quota bag is every single spec that I wanted because I was willing to wait, because I wasn't going to settle, but I also wasn't going to harass, because I was willing to be patient, because I genuinely love the brand and the bag. And for me, the bag is not the end of my time with Hermes. I'm still going to buy from Hermes. There are still things that I want from Hermes. There's some homeware stuff that I'd like to get. There are some accessories that I'd like to get. There's some ready to wear that I'd like to get. And I'm not going to get that all at once. It'll be over time. But having this bag, knowing how well the Nashville store immediately took care of us, has made me a customer with them for life. I will absolutely shop there. Blake has been looking at things, trying to find things that he likes within Hermes because he would like to support them because they are so kind to us and so wonderful, and helped his wife get her dream bag. They are just the most amazing store to be at. And everyone in that store is so incredibly kind and friendly. And like we were there towards the end of the day, so there really weren't a lot of people there because it was a Wednesday, and all of the sales associates were just so excited about the fact that I was getting my dream bag, and were just so excited for me getting a bag, and were wanting to see pictures of the twilly that I put on it, and were congratulating me, and everyone was just so nice and friendly and wonderful. They're good people, and I think that if you treat them with respect and with kindness and genuinely show an interest in what they're doing, because all these people who are working for Hermes, they have a genuine passion for the craftsmanship and for the brand and for the house. And I think that sharing in that with them and showing genuine interest in them and in what they do and in what they love, I think makes it much easier to connect and makes it much easier for them to say, you love this as well, I want you to get to experience this as well. And that is what this Birkin really is this Birkin is, it's in a way sort of an entrance to a club of, you love this brand and appreciate this brand, and you get to be a part of one of the most famous storied parts of this brand because of that. And so yes, you have to buy things, and yes, you have to have a relationship, but I think that if you are going into that with it being a transactional thing, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get what you want and for you to get a bag out of it. I think if you are going into it with genuine appreciation and just buying the pieces that you actually really like, because it's a lot easier to talk about things that you really like. It's a lot easier to be excited about things that you really like. I think that if you're doing that, if you're getting the pieces that you want, I think that the bag will happen on its own. It might take some time, and the more specific that you are, the harder that it might be. I feel very, very lucky and blessed. Also, the fact that I'm just able to buy this at the drop of a hat essentially is extremely fortunate, and I'm not going to pretend like that this is something that most people could just normally go out and buy, but I'm so just incredibly grateful to have this. This feels like a very big accomplishment. And when I started my channel, one of the things that I remember talking to my husband about was on how I really wanted to get a Birkin 30 by the time that I was 30. At the time, it was actually initially a Kelly, but I wanted an Hermes Quota bag by the time that I was 30. That was my goal, and that got achieved. I think that also the fact that I am pregnant, but I wasn't asking for this bag as a, like, I wasn't leveraging the fact that I'm pregnant and that I'm about to have a baby. I wasn't leveraging the fact that I'm going to be turning 30 in the first half of next year. I wasn't leveraging anything. I think that that also helped because I wasn't trying to manipulate anyone. I genuinely just felt that it would happen when it happened and when it was meant to happen. And I think that that's truly what happened here, is that it was meant to come before my daughter came. And I was meant to have this bag before my daughter came, and I have this bag. And I'm so excited that I have this bag, particularly because we know that price increases happen in January. So I'm really glad that I was able to get this in December before that happened. And I can now start using her. And that wraps up the second part of my Birkin unboxing. If you have any other questions about the bag, please make sure to leave them down below, and I will try to answer them whenever I film part 3, which will be on actually using the Birkin 30, what all fits, my impressions, and everything that goes along with that. And I hope that you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.